All right, fellow YouTubers, we have got some ARP knockoff head studs from Amazon today. Just came in. Doesn't really sound that greatly packaged here, but for $59, I think is what I paid for them. Let's see what we got in this package right here. Okay, we have box of bolts, just like I ordered. All right, these are the Speedmasters. Actually, I think I lied. I think these were $125 shipped. This is for the LS version or Generation 3. So it's got the 4 head bolt studs, one for each corner of the heads, plus all the long ones, and 10 of the smaller ones that go on top, and a lot of, yeah, it looks like ARP knockoff. What can I say? So we're going to be installing some of these today to see how they hold up. I've seen a couple of people complaining about threads not being in the nuts. I've also seen a couple of people that have broken these off in the head, and as my luck goes, I might be the next person to do that. So this is everything that comes in the kit. Like I said, it's Speedmaster. This is for the Gen 3 2003 and earlier. And about $120, $25 shipped to my door. So what we're doing, everybody's going to love this. We're going to be putting this in my dad's 59 Ford. I guess it's a Ford. Sorry, purists out there. Had a couple of head problems, so got new heads. That's an old gasket. I'm going to be replacing that. And we'll be back with you. Let me get some of this stuff installed. I'm going to start torquing it down, and we'll be right back with you. One quick note, this does not come with any instructions at all. So what I have seen people do, they actually download the ARP instructions and use their torque sequences to put these on. So again, that's what we'll be doing. I'll be getting an Allen wrench here in a moment, and we'll be putting these down into the heads just to bottom them out, and then all the torque is created from the actual nut going down on this. So give me a few moments and I'll be right back with you. All right, guys, so what I've done so far, I've got the studs in except for the small ones that go on top, the 5. Again, you can download this from the ARP website. Sorry, I've got a very bad camera holder right now. I'm going to get something a little better later. But that's the ARP for the 2000 and earlier, which again pretty much means that you're going to get 2 shorter bolts on each end of the head, right here and right there. I ordered the wrong ones because these are a little harder to get for some reason. I do not know why. So basically, you put these in all the way down to where they're hand tight. Basically, I did cheat a little bit. You're not supposed to put any torque at all. I did use my little ratchet right here with the little handle and just ran them down till they stop. So they pretty much just stop, and don't tighten it anymore. The nut and the washer on top are going to do all the torquing and pull that, everything extremely tight to torque once we start doing that. And we'll be going through all of the torque specifications here in just a couple of moments. I'm going to get these top 5 in real quick and go from there. Be right back with you. Okay, little issue going on right here. As you can see, the larger bolts have a Allen head where you can tighten it. Well, let me rephrase it. You can bottom it out. You're not supposed to tighten it. But the smaller ones do not. So the first one, I had to do the old double nut trick right here to get that down, because you just don't have enough finger room right there to get your fingers in and actually get that thing tightened down. I'm still not sure if this one's tightened down enough, because it still has a little bit of a wobble to it, and I can keep getting little turns on it. I don't like this at all, to be quite honest with you. I'm going to go get online real fast and see if anybody else is having this same issue with these, And I might have to find some thinner nuts to do the double nut right there, even though right now it does feel like it bottomed out, but don't know if I really trust that. So I will check on that and be right back. All right, so I don't like what I had to do here, but I'm gonna do the double nut to get it down fairly far. Then I found a thread that is just a little off pitch, so it grabs a little bit and it gives me a little bit of resistance, and I was able to slowly creep this one all the way down. And then I was able to use my electric impact and get my finger back here to hold the threads, and I was able to blip it, and it just took the nut right back off, and we have no thread bugger at all. Nut just goes right on. So if you have the right nuts and you can have some thinner ones, I would say that's how you're going to get these all the way down to where they seat, because you just cannot, you can't do it with your fingers. And like I said, these nuts that they supply, you can double stack them, but you cannot get it all the way to where it bottoms out. And I have seen a couple of people online complaining that they have stripped these smaller ones out, and I'm gonna have to assume that that was because they thought they hit the bottom and they really did not. So they did not have enough thread in there to get this to torque it down to the 20 foot-pounds, I believe is what the paperwork says. So I'm gonna get these in just like I did this one over here, and I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay, so once again, I'm not going to be able to hold this, but yeah, I got my nut on there. It's a little cross, it's not the right thread pitch, so it catches, but it lets me finger tighten it down with not the extension, or not the impact on it, but just using the extension and the socket. I'm able to get it all the way down. Now I'm just going to stick my finger back behind that to hold the stud from backing out, and pop the impact going reverse, obviously, and gonna just get it right off of here if I'm lucky like I did last time. Ouch, not quite as lucky, but there we go. Nope, not quite lucky that time, so I'm gonna have to figure out something else on this one. Okay, so what I ended up having to do was get a pair of needle nose and just grab it back there, and that seemed to work perfectly. So, like I said, I'm not sure if the ARP studs actually have the Allen head on the smaller ones, but look, here we go, all the way down. It is flush, so I'm not marring up the threads. Again, this is not the best way to do it, but I've already dug through my chest, and I just do not have any nuts that will work for what I'm needing to do to try to double stack them and make it thinner. So again, these nuts are just sliding on perfectly. So this is working, just have to be careful. All right guys, a quick little update. I was using the needle nose and actually messed up a thread a little bit. So I stopped doing that, and all I was doing now was just using, and there went my one little nut that I was using, but I was putting that nut that cross threads it a little bit, and I was just doing it all by hand with the pliers behind it. And just get, like I said, you just want to bottom out that stud. You do not want to try to torque it down. So again, all the torque is in the nuts that we'll be torquing on here in just a few minutes. One quick note on the ARPs, they have, I think they call them champers or something on the actual washers. But these washers are just slick on both sides. So one more small difference. The ARP guidelines also show you to use some, what do they say? Their lubricant, blah, blah, blah. Lubricate the stud thread and bottom of the nut with ARP fastener, blah, blah, blah. So I've got some ARP left over from my MR2 build over there that I had head studs on that, so I had some of this left over, so I'm just going to be putting that on there. And just FYI guys, if y'all have Walmarts around you, this brake cleaner right here is like $3.48 here in Texas, and you go over to O'Reilly's and it's like $6 a can. So every time I go to Walmart, the little convenience store, little outlet Walmart, and buy a few groceries, always throw a couple of cans in there. Never can have too much brake cleaner around for cleaning stuff up. All right, back in a moment. Okay, putting those top 5 small bolts in, these little jobbers right here. This is the correct thread right here that actually goes into the block. And I'm doing a little different on this side because I actually woke up in the middle of the night and thought of something a little better to put the studs in before the heads, so you're not fighting trying to get your little fingers in there and try to twist the darn things down. Now on the paperwork it does say to make sure the threads are nice and clean. I've covered up everything here, and I shot some brake cleaner down in there and tried to vacuum it out and do all that kind of stuff. I did have to double nut this one right here to get it to go all the way down, and once I felt it bottom out, I took the nut back off, and pretty much you can see I've got these two all the way down. So I'm going to make sure that the rest of them, once I hand tighten this one down or use the double nut technique, I'll get all of these down. And once I know they're all down to the same deck height, I will get the head and gently put it on, because you do not want to drag the head down the threads and mar up any threads. That would be a nightmare. All right, back with you in a minute. All right, because these heads are so light, even putting it on inside the car was extremely easy. Now I've already cleaned off all of the holes. I'm going to get in there with a little rag and get the little bit of debris that's left, because they said they want where the washer seat to be extremely clean. So I've got a little bit of work to do up here on the top, but then I'm going to get the washers down and start the torquing. All right, we got those in and just finger snug, looking real good. Now the reason I put those in first again is because the larger ones all have, I can't remember what size it is, I'll look it up here in a minute, but has an Allen head, if I can zoom in there, an Allen head on all of them, including for the 2003, the two shorter ones also have the Allen head, which go on the two outside under the valve cover spots. So I am going to get my Allen head wrench, or actually I've got one that's built on a socket, and let's see what size that is real fast here. And that is actually I'm using, probably not going to zoom in on that, but it's a 3/16. So all right, I'm going to get those in there and I'll be back in just a moment. So like I said, I'm just using a ratchet and just twisting these bad boys down in there. They go down pretty snug, or pretty, not snug, excuse me. They go down pretty quick. You know, it's a used motor. Didn't take it out and take it completely clean, so I just cleaned the threads the best I could. And again, I'm just gonna twist this bad boy till I feel it bottom out, and you'll know when it bottoms out because it will just stop. There it is, right there. And again, we're not applying torque whatsoever, so you just want to hit the bottom and go on to the next one. And obviously this one's going to be a little bit more trouble because it's getting closer to the firewall. So I'm going to get these last ones done and we will start the torquing with the torque wrench. All right, so those of you who watched the other side when I was putting it together and trying to put the studs on after I put the head, at least the top ones that do not have that Allen wrench, I think this is definitely the way to go. The heads are, like I said, so light. You can maneuver and manipulate over those 5 right there. Piece of cake. So I pretty much used my ratchet. I've got all of these and I've glanced at them. They all look to be about the same height completely. So I am happy. The nuts on top, again, they're just finger snug. So some of them might look a little further down than the other, but again, it's just because I just sort of try to finger them a little bit, and they will probably still go down a little bit more if I worked on them, but not worried about that right now. We'll get that on the final torque. I think 28 pounds is that. So we're going to go ahead and get a little bit of debris back out of that one right there. Should have done that before the stud, but didn't notice it. So I'm going to get my little paint gun, brush and get in there and get that cleaned out so that washer will sit flush. And I'm going to get to torquing right after that. Well, I had a comedian that put my package together. I just about had a heart attack. I had one washer left over. So I scurried to the other side with a flashlight to make sure that I didn't miss one, because I was going to not be happy. But lo and behold, a comedian, it was there doing the packaging and just freaked me out. So you might just want to count everything before you get started, just to make sure you don't have an extra washer and have a slight heart attack. All right. So I've gone through all the torque sequences. I didn't want to stop once I started going to grab the camera. If I do much more of these, I will try to get a GoPro or something so I can get some better video of me actually doing the work. But you know, if these things hold up, I would say it is a great purchase for $125 on Amazon. Again, follow that ARP torque. Do not look at the GM/Chevy, what is it called? Torque to, I can't remember what it's called, torque to yield. That will make you do an extra quarter turn at some point at the very end. I don't know exactly a quarter point past what torque, but again, this is just straightforward, simple. I'm going to cross my fingers. I've seen good reviews. If people haven't stripped or broken anything, people have had great reviews of them. I also will do a great review of it. Again, this is the Speedmaster, the PCE 2791023 bolt head stud. Again, this is for the 2003 and earlier. Again, you purists out there, don't hammer me too hard. This was my dad's 59 Skyliner. I'll try to put a couple of pictures on my YouTube channel of what this thing looked like when we got it, because it did sit in the garage. I actually went with my father. He passed away going on 2 years ago, and I actually went with him to pick up this car back in 1987, so it has some sentimental value. As you can tell, we've put some 17-inch wheels on it from a Mach 1 2003, I believe. The interior is the way he had it. I did not touch it other than vacuum it and get some of the rat droppings and such out. I did repaint it. If you can tell, the interior dash is a good old Pepto-Bismol pink. I found a place on eBay. That's not torn over there. That's the actual holder to shut the door. Like right there, just a chrome insert, so that panel's not cut or anything. It does have a little tear right there, but again, I think he got it back in '87. The headliner, a little bit of work. It just needs to be tucked in up there. You know, when this is a hardtop convertible, so this whole piece actually goes into the trunk. I'll try to put a video of that actually working, because it does work. But I did repaint this. This is a color off of eBay. It is supposed to be the 1959 geranium color. I think it looks pretty awesome. I mean, I don't think I would have picked this color to actually paint any car whatsoever. But I didn't go with the colonial white. That's just a little bird dropping. Thank you very much, Mr. Bird. I just went with a bright white. This is single stage, just like it was from the factory. This is Summit, whatever their white single stage is. And again, I got this geranium off of eBay because no one could go back and get the color code correct for this. So again, this was a garage paint job. It's a nice driver. I got one piece of chrome that I still have to put on right here. It's just a bumper extender. But the chrome, or stainless steel, excuse me, was in immaculate condition. The motor was torn apart. It was the FE 390 or 362, just a big block. My buddy and I looked around. We could not find a reasonable big block. So we ended up, again, I apologize for you Ford people, we put a 5.3 in here, and it has the 4L60 overdrive. So this thing really scoots down the road. Was having some burning. We didn't do a complete motor rebuild when we put the motor in there. So we believe it was the valves that were leaking. So I wanted to go ahead, get in there, get the head gaskets, replace those, get everything tightened back down, take a peek at the pistons. They looked great. Just a little bit of carbon buildup, which I'm gonna hopefully get some Berryman's B12 in this tank and maybe some sea foam in the oil. I believe you can put that in there to help clean it out. And yeah, this is it. Again, I'll post a video of it actually working for you people who have not seen one of these. It is a marvel, an engineering marvel that they were doing this. The first year was back in '57 for the Skyliner, and this is the last year. This is the '59, and it's just amazing when it works right. All right, guys. Hope y'all have enjoyed the video. Hit the like and subscribe, and thank you very much.